I don't think it was even possible at the point when I was a kid to even dream of what was to come. Playing on the biggest stage, being able to play all over the world. For me, certainly, it's a dream career. It's not just the sport that I've been participating in for all these years. I've been able to use sport to participate in life in a different way. It has been a dream for sure.
Wanted to first talk a little bit about the retirement and the photo, the picture that you decided to put with it, your childhood picture. Why did you pick that photo?
You know, that little kid that was playing all those years ago, I feel like I still keep a lot of that sort of joy and at times immaturity and willingness to do something that's maybe a little ill-advised on the field. But I look at the game, in a lot of ways, I think at its essence in the same way now as I did back then. It is a game, it's meant to be enjoyed, and I feel like you're meant to have fun, and I know for myself when I'm enjoying myself and smiling, being free, and really that sort of essence of play, I'm kind of playing the best. So I wanted to kick it back to that little kid.
Did you think you would be this much of an activist though? Like, was that always going to be a thread for you?
I think I have that streak in me, a sort of, I don't know, like a fairness streak, or saying what I believe, standing up for myself and standing up for other people. I think it was a lot of events that kind of happened in my life as well. The experience of my brother being in active addiction from such a young age, his experience in the criminal justice system, our experience sort of peripherally in that, being a gay athlete, being a woman, I think I didn't, understand what that meant as a child, but I think getting into, sports in particular, but just sort of understanding how all those things intersect. So it's a little bit of both. I kind of had it in me, but my life kind of brought it out. And then I think being in the profession of women's sports, just being in sports, I think in general, just, rips it right out of you.
So I want to take a couple of moments. The pose, tell me about that, and was that planned?
I'm always, thinking in some kind of way what to do if you score, because that's just like the best part and the whole point of the sport, and especially in the biggest moment, and you can allow yourself to be taken by the fans and the crowd and the energy, and I think coupled with the message that was behind it. I mean, obviously the former president had just tweeted at me personally and at the team. We were in the middle of an equal pay fight and we just filed our lawsuit. It sort of felt like the entire world was with us, and it just felt like the sort of perfect clapback, but also a sort of welcoming in of so many people, I think, throughout the tournament, fans that were supporting not only our team, but the sort of broader team of women's sports globally. And so it just kind of all came together in that moment. It was, very special.
And then the Medal of Freedom, like you go through so many things and it's like, and you got the Medal of Freedom, but it's like the Medal of Freedom. So like, what is that like, or what do you kind of take from that?
It was so interesting because it's obviously an honor and something I am very proud of, and I do think I deserve it. I think a lot of other people deserve it as well. A lot of the reason why I've been put in the position is because of kneeling and because of my stances on racial justice and speaking out about that. I'm always sort of a mimic or a microphone for Black people who are speaking and saying the exact same things and much better than I ever could, and they're sort of original ideas and ideas they've lived through. And I think that was part of why I wanted to make sure that, Cap's initials were on there and the 3 women who founded Black Lives Matter. And I think that sometimes people are just more comfortable in this package saying the same things than they would be comfortable, in Patrice's package or Colin's package or Alicia's package. So I think it was a moment of understanding that it's important for me to stand up there and to, accept the award, but also sort of bring it back to a big reason why I felt like I was even considered for it.
And with kneeling, how do you look back on that now? The moment when you first did and the backlash?
I mean, I would totally do everything exactly the same pretty much as I did it. Maybe, I was gonna say maybe be a little bit more prepared, but I don't know if I really could have been prepared. I feel like I was prepared to speak the right message and to say the right things and to echo people who had the lived experience, to echo Black people, and to be that ally. I wish more athletes would have knelt with Cap. I think that it was a moment for like real deep change, like changing of ideals and the way that people feel and think about things. I think that it was a real moment lost, particularly with NFL athletes, and I think particularly with white quarterbacks, to be able to support Cap in that way and support the message.
I've read that you want to continue on with these kinds of fights. Trans rights is something that you've been vocal about, social justice still. Is that what your plan is in retirement?
It's absolutely something I'm really passionate about. I feel like it's not even something that I need to like be passionate about. It's just like, I think everything intersects. And so as passionate as I am about being able to live my full humanity, like it's the same for other people. And I think having the opportunity to retire in the way that I am and free up so much more time to do that will be nice. It's always going to be sort of like a core pillar of not just sort of my business and how I think of things, but just me as a person. And so to have more time to do that will be really nice.
Got to go to the penalties. But the twisted part of the penalties, because you missed the one, right? And obviously it's a magnificently huge stage. Yeah. But then you come back and you make that one and you carry on your streak. And I mean, like, that's the legit next goal that you score. How do you compare the two, or that little moment of August?
Yeah. I mean, I said for a long time, it's like the worst thing that happened, you miss penalty and you like lose the World Cup for your country. I mean, I wasn't the only one that missed. I'm sure we all feel this way, but like, you know, I would take that penalty again. And I think that's just part of sport. I think that's like kind of part of life. It's like things don't always go your way, and like that's actually okay. Being able to have the opportunity to, you know, step up again. I was nervous for sure. I was like, this could be like, not nervous to take the penalty. I was like, I want to take it, and I, you know, if I make it or miss, it's fine. Like, I want to take it, and I believe in myself. But I was like, I just don't want this to like become a bigger thing. I missed 2 in a row, and it's like this whole story that, you know, whatever. Yeah, if there's any sort of lesson to be taken from it, I guess it's just you always want to do it, and you want to put yourself out there, and you want to try.
When is the wedding?
Oh, yeah.
You have time now. Is it coming up?
We have time now. We're gonna have to sit down and decide if we have the desire to plan it or not. It's just so much planning. Oh my gosh, this feels really hard. I think we're both excited to just get into this year where we don't have our schedule, you know, down to the minute every single day. Yeah. But eventually, it will happen for sure.
Y'all plan to truly take like time away out of the spotlight? I mean, is there an opportunity to really step away and, you know, go dark? Or even if you want to.
I don't think either of us really want to. I think we're both very excited about what is coming in women's sports, not just in our respective sport, but just like in general, and how we can continue to be a part of that. I think we've both fought, and other women obviously as well, have fought so hard, have created so much, have built so much. Now we're at a point of like, oh, this can actually be businesses. We can actually be part of the ownership of like the next phase of women's sports going forward, not just with teams or businesses or whatever, but like being some of the architects of it. But I think both of us are just like kind of like stepping back and looking at what is possible for women's sports in the next, you know, 10 and 15 and 20 years. And we don't want to go dark on that. That seems like a really fun and interesting place to be. And I think one thing that gets lost a little bit is like the love for women's sports in general. It's like not just your sport, it's like what we're building and what we stand for. We've always stood for so much more. It's like if you love the W, you love, you know, so much more about it than just what's happening on the field. I think same with the NWSL. So to continue to be a part of that, I think is really exciting for both of us. But we will be taking some long vacations and like chilling out and getting some beach time.
Well, thank you so very much for all of your time and everything. It's been really cool to watch you play, and yeah, good luck in your retirement.
Thank you. Thank you.